Hi, I'm Jackie McLean. Welcome back to my mini-series on how to use Scrivener. This is the second video out of 3. In the first video, I showed you how I like to set up the screen to work the way that I like to work, as an example. In this video, we're going to have a look at the main features of Scrivener when you first open it up to help you navigate the site and be able to get to use it quickly. And in the next video, I'll show you how you can set the screen up to make it look the way you want it to. The introduction screen when you first open Scrivener. The Scrivener has a set of guides to get you up and running that you can refer to at any point. I'm going to go here back to the opening screen. Now you have the option of several different templates for your writing if those help. So if you're writing a screenplay, for instance, or poetry, or different types of writing, there are ready-made templates just to help you get up and running. But we're going to go ahead at the moment and set up a blank project just to show you how to get your screen running and set up the way you want it. So we click on the blank document project there. We're going to give it a name. Let's call it New Book, and we'll create that. Scrivener refers to your work as a project. So each project consists of the files and elements that you're going to need for the piece of work that you're doing. So in this instance, the blank template gives you a ready set up document file, a research folder and a trash folder. Just have a quick look on the research folder here. If you click on that and then right click, you can add elements into your research folder. So if you want to save a new text file into here, you can do that and leave yourself notes of something that you've found of interest. You can also add web pages into your research folder as well. So if you found a website that's useful for your writing and for reference, you can add it in to your research folder there as well. And particularly if you're a crime writer and you have some dodgy web searches, it's quite handy to be able to keep all your websites in one folder like this instead of actually on your website for other family members to come across. So we'll go back into we'll close that down. We'll go back into our main document and I'll show you how this works. So we've got a blank file, just like a Word document really. You do your typing into this text file, whatever you want to write. So you've got a text file there with some words in it. Now one text file obviously isn't really enough to write a book. What I tend to use the text files for is one for each chapter in the book. So I'm going to create several more of these just to show you how that builds up. So if I want to create more text files, I go into draft here, right click, and I'm going to add new text. I'll do that again, back into here, right click, add a new text. Now I've got 3 text files, one each for 3 chapters, for instance. Now if we go back up to here, what comes up on this panel is 3 index cards, one for each of the chapters that we've just created, and they're quite handy. I'm going to set these up for now, and you'll see shortly how they become useful. So let's give each one a name. Let's call this chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and you use this space in the index cards so you can write a summary of what happens in each chapter. So this happens, that happens, and something else happens. For instance, that's our summary of our 3 chapters. So at any one point when I'm in a particular file writing up my chapter, I can have a look at the summaries of the chapters around it. So I can see in chapter 1 whatever's going to happen there, and I know what I've decided is going to happen in the following chapters. So it helps to keep me orientated. And in the next video, I'll show you how to customise these screens just to make it easier to see everything at a glance. But for the moment, let's just do the setup. So we've created 3 chapters by doing the right click on here and adding text files. In each chapter as well, if you go down to the bottom of your text file, you've got a wee target arrow here. That's where you can set your word count target. So say, for instance, I want to set 2,000 words as a target, and that's me set up. And it starts a word count for me down here, and I can look at all the stats to my heart's content. So I can do that for each of the chapters just by going down to the wee target and setting word count targets. What I find helpful as well when I'm writing a book is to chunk a bundle of chapters into a part. So part 1, part 2, part 3 of the book might have 10 chapters each in them. So again, to create parts of the book, these are folders which then contain the text files. So right click on draft, add, and instead of adding another text file, I'm going to add a folder. In fact, I'm going to add 2 folders just to show you how this works. I'm going to name one of the folders part 1, and the other folder I'm going to, surprise, surprise, call it part 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag chapters 1 and 2 into part 1. I'm going to drag chapter 3 into part 2. So now the book's starting to get some kind of structure to it. You can see part 1 contains 2 chapters, part 2 of the book contains a chapter. Adding chapters directly into a part of a book, you go to its heading, the folder there, and right click, add new text file, just the same. I want to add another folder into another text file into here, there we go. And again, just give them names. I might call that another chapter 3, and I'll just rename that chapter 4, and we'll get chapter 5. So you can see how the structure starts to build up, and this left hand pane always shows you the structure that you've got in your project. So overall, the top hierarchy here shows you the index cards for part 1 and part 2. Next down in the hierarchy, you've got the folders containing the chapters, shows you what's in them, each part. So not filled in the details of these index cards. So that's the basic structure, and it's the way that I like to structure books when I'm writing. You might just decide to do a string of chapters, or some people create a text file for each scene rather than each chapter. But the way that you do that is just the same, and it's easy enough to set up the structure as you like it. Anytime you want to check what's in there, just look at the hierarchy. Start from the very top, next down, and each time you go into a part of the hierarchy, that's what you'll see on this screen here. So navigating around Scrivener, you've got the menu options up here, and a lot of them will be familiar. They're like you'll see in a regular Word document menu. So the file tab here gives you options for the overall project. So it's looking at recent projects that you've saved. So in my case, other books that I'm working on. You can saving the project, import, export, and duplicate the whole project as well if you want to. Sometimes that's quite handy. The edit, insert and format tabs, they're very similar to what you'll find in Word documents, and they're for customising your actual text files really, and they're just same as a Word document. The project and documents tabs here, they're really your options for organising your structure. So you can either, for instance, add text files by right clicking in this pane, or you can go to the tabs at the top and add them that way instead. So you've got just alternative ways of adding your text files and folders. But those tabs, the project and documents, are overall options for your structure. It's the view and the window tabs that are the ones of most use for customising your screen, because really if all you have is a set of text files, there's no real advantage over that compared to using a Word document for writing your book. The real strength in Scrivener for a writer is the way that you can customise your screen to allow you to see everything at a glance and to organise things exactly the way that you want them to on the screen, and have everything together. So customising the screen using the view and the window tabs are going to be the subject of the next video. But for now, this video has just been about actually setting up your structure, your book. So with parts 1, parts 2, chapters within each of those parts, and I'll look at where your navigation tabs are. And in the next video, we're going to have a look at customising this so that it looks a little bit more like the book that I'm working on at the minute, which is that, where I've got my text, my index cards, and my summary down the side there. So see you next time.